All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is your friendly neighborhood broadcaster, HD Starcraft, and I'm back for Game 2, obviously, from this amazing set from the WCS Season 2, and following this, I'll be doing a couple more games from this season, and then I'll be moving on to some bigger and more badass games. But how can you get even bigger and more badass than what we've already seen here from Jaedong and MC? I mean, really, this game the last game was pretty incredible. Late game ZvP went into a base race, and Jaedong, I've never seen, I mean, I've seen it before, but it's pretty rare to see a Zerg player be able to manipulate the game in such a way where really what Jaedong was doing was stockpiling as many Mutalisks as he possibly could, and hoping that he would have enough Mutas to be able to crush the Protoss army when the inevitable battle happened, and he did. He had just enough, even though MC brought in some Templars and Archons, it wasn't enough psionic energy there to be able to take out the Mutas, and Jaedong, I mean, that was pretty awesome to see Jaedong win that game, especially after seeing him on that epic, downswing. He's been losing a lot of games, at least on my channel lately, so it's nice to see him win a couple here or there. And what we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a cross-spawn, massive map here. Both these players are going to be playing on, and this is going to be, I hope, a pretty long and nice game here between Jaedong and MC. Game 2 is about to get underway, so go out now and microwave your popcorn, get your drink ready, or whatever you guys want to do before you guys watch a great game, because I'm predicting to see a pretty awesome battle here between Jaedong and MC, and it looks like we do have a hatchery coming up here, and the question here is Jaedong going to be going for another quick hatchery? Is he going to go for third expansion pretty soon? And given that that it is a cross spawn map, I think that Jaedong would prefer to go for a quick third. I would imagine Jaedong wants to go into the late game here, because I would imagine that Jaedong thinks he's got an edge over MC in the late game. MC has always, I mentioned this in the last cast, but MC has always been known for really aggressive builds, two basing and defeating his opponents very easily on two bases, extremely well executed aggression. His late game, however, leaves a little bit more to be desired. Not to say that he's not a good late game Protoss, he is, but I think that Jaedong probably thinks that he's got a slight edge over MC if the game goes, into 30-minute plus scenario. And having said that, I would imagine Jaedong will try to take it in the late game here. In fact, he is going to be going for a third hatchery. There it is, and look at this. MC is going to be going for a proxy pylon. Now, he's actually hidden this behind the hatchery, and a Zerg that doesn't bring an Overlord there will not notice that there is a pylon there. I mean, this is like the oldest trick in the book. And MC, I mean, is he going to go for photon cannons? He's got a forge up already. He could certainly cannon the crap out of this hatchery, and I think he's going to do it. I mean, I would imagine he has to go for it. Yeah, he is. He's going to build photon cannons, and this hatchery is totally screwed unless Jaedong turns his Overlord to the right, and he needs to do it right now, and I don't think he's going to see it. So MC is going to get away with one of the oldest tricks in the book, originally done by, I think, Huck, but don't quote me on that. I mean, I'm sure somebody else came up with it, but Huck was the one who kind of, whoa, Jaedong sees it. So he sees it with the Overlord, and he cancels the hatchery. Now will these cannons get canceled? One cannon allowed to go up. And I guess MC wanting to let one cannon up just so that he makes sure that the drone doesn't come back and make itself into a new hatchery. So very nice play right there from MC, and a nicer play by Jaedong being able to see those photon cannons. I mean, literally, he saw it barely out of the vision of this Overlord's eyeball. It was like this eyeball right here, the big one, and he was able to see that photon cannon. So very, very lucky, I think, for Jaedong, and at the same time, maybe it was just part of his game plan to leave that Overlord there in case there was, cannons coming up. He knows the positioning and how far an Overlord's sight range is, and he was able to sniff it out just barely. So at the end of the day, maybe a bit of luck, maybe a little bit of skill as well, and he dodges and literally avoids losing this game, or at least falling behind in a major way to MC to start things off. Alright, so it looks like back at home, MC here has stayed on two bases, and he is going to be adding on the Mothership Core, what we thought we would see. And yeah, pretty standard so far from MC, just besides the early photon cannon. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Jaedong is going to be going up for a Roach Horn here himself. And don't read too much into the Roach Horn. I mean, you know, a lot of times Zerg players can go for early Roach aggression, but more often than not, when I see Zerg players go for Roaches, especially off of 3 bases, it's typically just for defensive purposes, but we'll see what Jaedong wants to do with this here. It looks like he has a Roach Horn finished, and he is not producing Roaches. So, yeah, I think he's going to just have the Roach Horn there just for safety, just to have the ability to produce Roaches. Here comes some on the way right now. And in the meantime, it looks like MC is maybe moving out here with a little bit of an attack. And in fact, he's brought a probe over to build a couple of proxy pylons, but he gets intercepted in the middle of the field by Zerglings. And one Zealot does go down. Very nice by Jaedong. Jaedong actually ahead by about 80. Look at this. He's got 81 supply to 44. He's got almost double the supply of MC here. And now Jaedong's going to be very thankful he made a Roach Horn, because he's going to need Roaches in order to deal with this type of an attack. Back at home, in fact, MC has gone for a 7-gate all in here. MC is just gonna go for it. No wonder he brought a probe over proxy pylon. He just wants to end the game here and now. Gonna try to punish Jaedong for going for the quick 3rd expansion. And will he have enough forces here to be able to do this? He's gonna warp in additional reinforcements using that pylon, and Jaedong now having to rely on his Roaches and his high ground in order to defend against this. It looks like the rocks are gonna be destroyed. If these rocks go down, that's gonna open up this ramp and allow MC to attack with even more forces than before. And Jaedong does have Burrow. That's a nice little upgrade that I didn't expect him to get. But if he can burrow his Roaches accordingly and get the weakened ones underground, he can actually maintain their HP and keep them alive. And unfortunately for MC, because MC went for this early 7-gate all-in style, he will not have a robotics facility. But look at this, Jaedong somehow sneaks some Zerglings into the Protoss main base and depowers the gateways. Unbelievable by Jaedong. He just ran those Zerglings right up the ramp and took out the pylons powering the gateway. Absolutely incredible. Now gonna burrow these Zerglings underground, and at the same time now pushing on and taking out the proxy pylons outside of his base. Jaedong with Maestro-esque maneuver, and now what is MC gonna do? He needs to get a robotics facility to get an observer out, or yeah, that's pretty much it, or get an Oracle, but he doesn't have a Stargate, so he will most definitely need to figure out a way to deal with these burrowed Zerglings, because they will just continue to give Jaedong vision of MC's base throughout the entirety of this game if he does not get a photon cannon or get an observer out or an oracle. And finally, it looks like Jaedong takes out all the proxy pylons outside of his base, so Jaedong averts disaster at his front door. That could have gone a very different way had Jaedong lost his expansion or fallen under attack to an early 7-gate attack from MC. Like I said before, that is MC's play style, early aggression, and MC almost was able to make that happen. But Jaedong, with you know, realizing that sometimes the best way to defend is a good offense, and he sent those Zerglings in and depowered the gateways. I mean, that was literally the best possible thing you can hope for when you depower a 7-gate Protoss. Basically, you don't have to worry about any more reinforcements coming in for a very long time, and you force the Protoss to pull back as well. So that worked out beautifully for Jaedong. I mean, I did not expect to see that. That's why I kind of pulled away to the camera so late. But beautiful play by JD right there. And now MC thinking about having to make a transition. He is down by about 70 or so supply, and he has got to make the transition here and go into the late game in order to stand toe-to-toe with Jaedong. You cannot hope to remain on Gateway Tech forever. He does have a robotics facility out now producing Immortals because he realizes how many Roaches there are on the field, but his Phoenix also flies in and sees the Hydralisks as well. So that is going to force MC to quickly tech up to Colossus and try to get, you know, something, you know, Colossus or Templar to deal with those Hydras. It's going to stretch his gas pretty thin here, considering he just now started the 3rd Nexus. And, you know, all those things considered, MC here really on the back foot here in game 2, and that bodes very well for the Zerg player Jaedong, because if you recall, in game 1 I thought MC had the ball in his court for the majority of the game, but Jaedong was still able to turn it around in the late game. This time Jaedong's got the ball in his court, and he is going into the mid game with a significant advantage. In fact, he just now started Hive Tech as well, 13-minute-and-a-half Hive. That's a pretty quick Hive from Jaedong, and he's also got a 4th hat trick coming up as well, so things are looking great for the Zerg player. And I just love how he incorporated Burrow as well, just to give himself that extra edge. You know, when the Protoss moves out, he's going to need to bring a couple observers with him as well, because you'll never know if those Zerg forces are burrowed underground. And, you know, you don't want to fall prey to an early ambush like that. You can lose your entire army if you walk over a burrowed army of Roaches and Hydras and Zerglings. That can be very disastrous. And anyways, Jaedong here taking out a couple of these rocks here just to, I guess, open up the pathways between his bases. And, you know, in general, Zerg wants to destroy all the rocks on the map, except for the one over here in the early game, because that's more of a defensive rock for the Zerg. But typically, you want to open up the map and make it easier for your forces to swarm around. One Overseer here going to be flying in, trying to get a little bit of vision into the Protoss base. Actually ends up contaminating the robotics facility. Very nice right there from Jaedong, just doing everything within his power to slow down MC, delay production of those deadly Colossi. And now Jaedong is going to be adding in Vipers. And this is great because, you know, you don't see these units being used, even though it is a new unit available to Zerg in Heart of the Swarm. They don't get used all the time, but they are absolutely amazing against Colossus. And Jaedong is also going up to Ultralisk Cavern as well. This is going to be shaping up to be a very good PvZ. I cannot wait to see what happens in this game. And it looks like Jaedong here is moving into the middle of the map with a very large army. Looks like he wants to take out more of these rocks here defending this Nexus. And MC doesn't really have that many Colossus. In fact, he doesn't have any yet. He needs to, and he does have one, but it's not with his army. And he needs to get Extended Thermal Lance done as well. That Colossus is making its way over right now. Once those Colossus come in and join up with the Protoss army, MC is going to feel a lot safer here. But only for a little bit of time, because once those Vipers come out and the Ultralisk, those Colossus are not so hot anymore. Good force fields here from MC, taking out some of the Roaches that were cut off, of course. Some Zerglings once again running behind the Protoss front door, and they get into the main base of the Protoss player once again. Now Jaedong can go ahead and burrow these Zerglings underground, or he can just run them around and scout the enemy base for as long as he wants to, but it looks like he is going to go ahead and burrow them, hiding them underneath the support bay, I guess, and now bringing the Vipers into battle, and it looks like he gets the abduct off on that Colossus. The Colossus gets picked off. Beautiful abduction by Jaedong, and MC loses the one defensive Colossus he had going for him, now having to defend this front pocket expansion without any Colossus support whatsoever. In the meantime, that support bay is defended by Zealots, of course, and it looks like blinding clouds coming down here and preventing the ranged units from attacking. Those blinding clouds hurting the Zerg as well as the Protoss, but hurting more of the Protoss, I suppose, because Jaedong's continuing to throw them down over the Stalkers, and Jaedong pushing in here with his army, abducts yet another Colossus and takes it down. Beautiful plays here from Jaedong, but he is going to lose the majority of his Roaches and Hydras in the middle of the map. It looks like MC just had too many Stalkers, but at the end of the day, if you look at the units lost tab, actually pretty surprising there. I would have thought that Jaedong would have been winning that battle a lot better than he was, but now it looks like he is going to be bringing in a large reinforcement army of Zerglings, and the Mothership Core coming in at the last second and time warping those forces out of there. Look at the health on this Mothership Core, only 5 HP, lost all of its shields, and was just barely able to come in for a clutch maneuver, last second save there, and now it looks like those Zealots have been pulled away, and that's the danger of burrowed Zerglings, man. You know, sometimes you forget your army is on a hotkey. You don't leave those Zealots back in your army, and unfortunately back in your base, and now it looks like MC gonna pay the price. No, he's got a pylon there, and he warps in some Zealots, and he might be able to save this robotics facility. It's gonna be close, 62, 52 HP. The Zerglings now gonna dance around, gonna try to take out this robotic support bay, and with the adrenal glands, they are successful. Support bay down, and MC now gonna have to wage this war without Colossus support, at least until he gets a new support bay up and running. So a little bit of delays here and there. Every little bit does help, and now Jaedong able to amass the final evolution of the Zerg army on the ground. At the very least, it is the Ultralisk now. They've made their way on the field. 2-2 is the upgrades for the Zerg player. 2 weapons for the are the upgrades for the Protoss, and it looks like Jaedong here gonna push in. Feedback being used on the Vipers, obviously. Time Warp Field coming down. Blinding Clouds obviously being used as well. Everybody doing everything within their power in this battle. It looks like the Ultras trying to get into the army here, but there is a grid of buildings that they've got to work their way through first and foremost photon cannons and Colossus in the back of those as well. And Jaedong realizing he does not have enough army here to bust through that front area. Those photon cannons and their placements as well as their pylons, those buildings really making it hard for the Ultralisk to be able to get through and attack the Protoss army, and MC utilizing that building placement very, very well. And don't forget, he hid most of his forces behind the cannons, so that really made it difficult for the big and bulky Ultras to be able to get through and do their cleaving damage against the Protoss army. So MC with a beautiful defend there, and this game is very close, ladies and gentlemen. It's hard to say one way or another who is winning, but it is an extremely close game. Jaedong now taking the liberty to expand like a madman, realizing, hey, this is going to go on into a very prolonged engagement, so I better get as many hatcheries as I can possibly muster. He's also adding in a ton more Ultras. Currently, his unit count looking at 8 Ultras with 4 more on the way. And it looks like MC now going to be making an attack. A bit of an awkward timing for MC, but he wants to limit the amount of hatcheries that Jaedong is going to have. Going to push into this expansion on the bottom left-hand corner, and Jaedong now has to defend here. It looks like he is just going to run and intercept the Protoss army first, making sure there aren't any reinforcements he's going to have to deal with. And now he's got this army cornered in the back of this area. But will Jaedong go for it or not? He might wait for this army to come out onto the creep and expose itself. And yeah, I think that's what Jaedong is waiting for. But I don't think he wants to fight here. There are rocks here and a ramp. He does abduct that Colossus, but the Colossus makes its way back up to the high ground and survives the 23 kill Executor Colossus, keeping alive there, and now recalling most of the Protoss army back home. So what a play by MC, taking out what he determined to be one of the fresh new expansions for Jaedong, but Jaedong sneakily double expanded and has another one going on back here in the bottom left hand corner. And you'll note he is mining gas out of there, so this hatchery is making itself useful right now. And in the late game, that is the resource that you want to get. It is Vespene gas. 4 Ultras making their way up to the top side, obviously looking to hunt for an expansion. One of the Ultralisks sacrifices themselves so the 3 Amigas can keep alive. Nice play right there from Jaedong, and Jaedong now sending a couple of Zerglings over here to the left hand side, looking to catch any vulnerability, any exposure at all that he can take advantage of. Unfortunately for him, MC has his army in position. He's got photon cannons all over the place, and once MC gets a 4th base up and running, MC is right in this game, man. I mean, if anything, he is in this game as it stands right now, but he needs that 4th base because Jaedong is operating on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases, so MC needs that 4th base running. Otherwise, he faces the danger of running out of money, running out of gas, and you don't ever want to, you know, run out of money or gas when you're going into the late game like this. 24 minutes in right now. I don't know what the hell MC just blew up right there, but it looked like it might have been friendly fire. I wasn't quite sure. It looks like MC can't get the Nexus up, so he has got to wait for this photon cannon grid to come online first. And yeah, so there's a Burrow Zergling there. But it will be taken care of once this cannon comes online by Zergling, and MC gets the Nexus up and running. So this is a very well defended Nexus once again by MC. You'll note once again placing the photon cannons and the pylons in a front defensive position to help keep those Ultralisks at bay. And so yeah, things are looking very nicely here, and Jaedong is going to move in with these Ultras and Vipers, going to look to do some massive damage using Blinding Cloud. Blinding Cloud Ultra is so powerful because the Ultras are not affected by it, and everything else is obviously that isn't melee. But Jaedong, I don't think he's got enough firepower here, and look at how many DTs come in at the last minute and then just clean up the Ultras. All those Ultras just dying for almost no reason at all. But look at this, Jaedong, the man with the plan, has tech switched into massive Mutalisk. He's gonna go for 37 meters. It worked for him in game 1. Why not try it again in game 2? And he's hoping, he's praying here that MC overinvests in ground forces, and in fact MC has gone for massive DT Zealot army here. He's not going to have that much firepower for Mutalisk, although he is morphing some of these DTs into Archons. And we'll just have to see what happens here. A lot of mutas now coming on the map. There isn't any Templars for Sonic Storm. As long as these mutas spread out, they should be okay. And that's what Jaedong does. He spreads the mutas out over the Archons, and this Protoss army is going to die. No question about it. I don't think Jaedong has any worries about this battle at all. And so yeah, everything gets cleaned up, but he does lose the hatchery, which is a huge loss for Jaedong. Nevertheless, he doesn't want to be losing expansions for no reason at all. And it looks like he's going to be able to clean up these Zealots and DTs as well. Now, this is going to be the question that we're all going to be asking now. is in this moment of downtime, what will Jaedong do? He's got a massive army. MC is now struggling to reinforce and rebuild his army. Jaedong has to go for a counterattack, and I think the spot to counter is probably this base right here. The only problem is MC's warping in Templars. He's got photon cannons here as well. It's going to be pretty hard for Jaedong to be able to take out that base. And at the same time here, Jaedong here he wants to make sure that he doesn't fall behind in expansions. I think, you know, sending a lot of his drones over to this bottom left-hand corner that hasn't yet been discovered by MC would be a pretty good idea as well. And so, very interesting game here, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 27 minutes in. Jaedong coming in with the Minas, but he gets stormed! Beautiful storms! All those Minas just get absolutely crippled! Manhandled by a Psionic Storm! And Jaedong loses, I mean, he must have lost at least, you know, 2,000 HP total there for all these mutas. I mean, about half of the entire group's health dropped down right there, and Jaedong has to be very careful what he does with these mutas. Another storm could be crippling if he doesn't maneuver them properly. Looks like he's going after probes here, and he does quite a bit of damage. Storm does come down, but Jaedong dodges it nicely, and now taking out as many probes as possible. Very nice job by Jaedong, but he's got to be careful. These mutas are in the red, and they are falling down pretty quickly. He needs to pull them out and allow tissue regeneration to take hold and bring his health back up to full. And I think that's what Jaedong's going to do now. Retreat, let his health regenerate just a bit, but he doesn't want to be, you know, wait back and hesitate for too long, because the longer he waits, the better position MC gets in, because right now, as you guys recall, Muta Zergling is best when the Protoss doesn't have an army, and right now, MC doesn't have an army. He has a very small army of Archons and Stalkers, so Jaedong needs to remember to keep the pressure on and, you know, at the same time, you know, stay back just enough so that tissue regeneration can keep his mutas healthy. And it looks like now these mutas are starting to go back into the green, so very nice by Jaedong right there. Also nice defense here, keeping an Overseer over that hatchery and making sure that, you know, it didn't go down to a wayward Dark Templar. Great game by both of these players. 125 supply to 98. It is a low economy game here. Love watching these types of battles here between two top pros. And what is MC gonna do? He is mining basically only out of this base right here. He can't really afford to push out. That's the problem for MC right now, because if he pushes out, he knows he's gonna lose this base, so he basically is forced to turtle up and stay defensive and you know, send a couple of DTs and Zealots out across the map occasionally. That is his best game plan right now. Unfortunately, Jaedong knows it, and because he knows it, he's keeping Overseers over his bases. In fact, I don't know where the Overseer here is, but he should be keeping Overseers over his bases, or at the very least, you know, making a Spine Spore grid at all of his hatcheries. I think that would be a very good decision by Jaedong. And I guess right now Jaedong is working on recovering all of his expansions. You can see he's expanding. He's got 2 hatcheries coming up, one here, and he just got 1 fresh one that arrived right here. So very nice by Jaedong right there to replenish his hatcheries. And MC right now just hoping that these Zealots and DTs continue to keep Jaedong at bay. And now he is going to actually push out, takes out one of those changelings. Is he really going to push out? This is very risky by MC, I feel like, because the moment he pushes, he's got to know that this base is going to be exposed. And I guess that's why he left a couple of Templars back at home, because he knows those mutas are going to be coming in. And here comes the mutas indeed. Will those Templars come in for a Psionic Storm? It looks like Storm comes down, but those mutas dodge out of the way. And another Storm! And Jaedong gotta be careful now. Those mutas have lost a lot of HP. You can see what happens if you get stormed and you stay inside the storm radius for a little bit too long. You can lose a lot of your health very quickly. And looks like 1 DT over here. A couple of Vipers hanging out. And I guess there is an Overseer. There's got to be an Overseer with these mutas, and there it is. So this Dark Templar is going to get snapped off. Units lost right now 36,000 to 31,000. Income 51 to 46. Workers lost 31 to 35. Tabs are, you know, showing what you'd expect to see in a very late game scenario. And it looks like MC has pushed out. He wants to take out this hatchery, and he will do just that. So the hatchery has fallen, and MC here really looking to apply the pressure. He's got a big ball of Archons and Templars backing up as well. Jaedong has to be careful, and he's gonna bring these mutas in. Oh, this is a huge battle, but his mutas are just gonna get the crap stormed out of them, and I don't think Jaedong's gonna have enough, but he does have Blinding Cloud. Blinding Cloud might be enough to allow him to win this battle. Oh, it's gonna be close. A couple of Adrenal Clan cracked out Zerglings coming in to take out these Archons as well, and both armies just completely neutralizing one another. I mean, both of them just sent their entire armies in, and they both epically, you know, blew each other up. And now MC going to come in with a couple more zealots, trying to take out this expansion down in the bottom left-hand corner. He's also got more reinforcements coming in as well, along with the mothership core. Jaedong is now going to have to struggle to defend. Really doesn't want to lose this expansion. Has new mutas and zerglings down here in the bottom left-hand corner, but he really wants to make sure that he can defend against this new wave of reinforcements. A lot of Archons here, Templars here, and a lot of storms are going to come down as a result. Storms! Hallelujah, storms! But I think Jaedong might have enough to be able to win this battle. It's going to be real close. More zerglings coming in, reinforcing. A lot of changelings coming out as well. Jaedong hoping that changelings can make something happen. Of course, they don't come equipped with any type of an attack, so it's you know, it doesn't really serve any purpose there. But at the end of the day, it looks like MC with those recycled Archons. This is where Archons really come in their own in the very, very late game. You know, they are very cheap and easy to produce because they recycle out of Templar's wasted energy. They can do a ton of damage, and they are very hard for a Zerg to stop. And right now, Jaedong has got to figure out something. It looks like he's going to lose his hatchery. Burrows his drones underneath to keep them alive. Now, Jaedong coming in with these Zerglings. MC will he be able to keep these Archons alive? He's going to try to have to back them up against a wall or something, but these cracked Zerglings are just so powerful. They surround those Archons with absolute impunity and take them out. Very nice right here. 3-3 are the upgrades for Jaedong. He's actually got 2-2 for Flyer as well. And in terms of Protoss, it is 3-1. So those Archons were a little bit outclassed by the Zerg army, I suppose. And that is one reason why Jaedong has been able to stay on top of MC, because he's got a slight armor upgrade advantage. Although MC now starting to get, you know, he's got +1 armor, so I'd imagine he'd get +2 and +3 pretty soon as well. A large army of Cracklings coming in here as well. This is basically the Zerg's response to Archons is Cracklings in the late game. A 3-3 Adrenal Gland Zergling is so, you know, cost efficient. It's only 25 minerals for one of them, and they just do a wallop of damage. They do so much damage. It is very hard for a Zerg, for a Protoss to be able to stop them, and it kind of forces Protoss to produce mass charge lot Archon, which is, you know, basically one of their, you know, this is like the poor man's way to wage war in Protoss versus Zerg is, you know, what I'm trying to say. And this is just a beautiful ZvP game here. Who is going to be able to win it at the end of the day? 81 supply to 93. Drones are at 38, probes are at 43. There's only one base mining for the Protoss, however, and really there's only one base mining for the Zerg, so it's like a one base game versus a one base game. And it's just like both players have basically reset against each other. A new Zealot coming out here to make sure that there are no drones that will be mining at this bottom left hand corner, at least until some Cracklings make their way back over there and defend. And MC here pushing in with this army once again. There are some Ultras making their way on the map. Jaedong able to squeak out a few Ultras out of what money he's got remaining. And Ultras are pretty damn good against Charge Out Archon because of their cleave. They can take out Zealots pretty easily. We'll see what happens here. Jaedong really is going to have to defend against this army, and MC here pushing out, hoping to take out the last mining base of Jaedong. He's got this army of Charge Out Archon. Will he have enough? But the Ultralist comes in, and I don't think MC wants to fight against these Ultras, but he's going to be forced to stay here in battle. Blinding Clouds coming down, not really doing much in this battle, in fact, because Archons and Chargers and Ultras and Zerglings are all melee, and it looks like Jaedong, I think, might have enough to win this battle. It's going to be very close. Transfuse is coming down to keep the Ultras alive. Epic transfusions, and it looks like Jaedong will win this battle. He does, and MC having to retreat once again with his army. Oh my god, this is Starcraft. Ladies and gentlemen, 46,000 to 52,000 resources lost. Couple more Ultras coming out here for the Zerg player. This Dark Templar in the bottom left-hand corner somehow went from a Zealot to a DT, has actually been able to prevent all mining from happening at this expansion, which is really nice. You know, MC making sure that Jaedong remains on one base and not upgrade to two, and he doesn't upgrade to 2. This one Ultra going the wrong way here. I don't know what the hell he's thinking he's doing, but that was a total waste for Jaedong. He needs to keep those Ultras alive, and for whatever reason just kind of sent one in to get murdered right there. Anyways, these drones have nowhere to make themselves a home, And I guess Jaedong is just going to hope that the CT goes away and he can plant a new hatchery down. But what a game it is. It's kind of going into that phase now where both players have realized it's getting pretty close to a stalemate. And you know, because both armies are so small, and because both players have so much base defense, I mean, at least the Protoss does, it's pretty much impossible for Jaedong to be able to make an attack. And Jaedong's best hope here to win this game is sit back, macro, and produce a large enough army to the point where he doesn't have to worry about these photon cannons. He can just steamroll through it. Or Jaedong can hope that the Protoss runs out of money. So those are, I think, the two options going through the Zerg player's head. For MC, on the other hand, he's kind of stuck in a hard spot because he really needs another expansion, and if he pushes out to claim another one, I think it's stretching his army a little bit too thin. So I don't really know what MC can do at this point, and he is warping in more charge outs obviously here. I guess he's just gonna try to make a Custer's last stand here and hold off with the defense. Those abductions on the Immortals. Priceless abductions right there. Those Immortals are going to go down, not before they slay an Ultralist though, and it looks like these Ultras might be a little bit too far ahead of themselves. They are going to be able to take out the Immortals though, and just two Ultras, for one Ultra or two versus an Archon and a few Stalkers. Oh my god, and Jaedong has to retreat. Jaedong has to retreat, and MC having just enough forces there to defend. Those Immortals really doing a ton of damage to these Ultralists, and now Changeling's trying to distract this Protoss army. Jaedong now retreating back, but he actually doesn't have any Spine Crawlers back at home. It really would have been nice if he produced a couple of Crawlers. Now these Stalkers pushing forward, and it's just like a micro battle now. Who's going to be able to micro better? And Jaedong realizes he just doesn't have enough forces. He's got to wait for more Zerglings to come in. He might even have to rely on his drones here in order to defend against this attack. Zealots, Stalkers, Immortal, and Archon here. And here we go. This is the battle we have been waiting for. The Ultralist gets slayed, however, and I think this might be GG. I think MC might have been able to cook up a victory somehow, some way. Those drones trying to get out of the way, but they get vaporized by the Archon, and the hatchery is going to go down. Oh my god, what a sick game this was. And I guess Jaedong is gonna lose here, but he hasn't given up yet. He's got a couple of Cracklings here, gonna try to take out these probes. Oh man, Cracklings going to work on probes is just absolutely devastating for Protoss. He is gonna lose like half of the workers here basically. And Jaedong wisely pulling his Zerglings out of harm's way, doesn't want to lose whatever Zerglings he's got remaining. Let's look at the drones. He's only got 16 workers, and in fact he is now distance mining to replenish his army. He's distance mining from this expansion over to this hatchery. Of course, MC is out of money as well, so both players are out of money, but both players are distance mining to keep themselves in the game. And Jaedong unburrows a couple of his Zerglings once again. He really wants to make sure that the Protoss does not make any more money. Jaedong realizing, this is a tournament here. He's got to win this game. It's absolutely vital, and he's going to be able to surround this Archon. Beautiful surround, takes out an Archon for free, but he runs into the Protoss army once again. Cannot afford to lose his Zerglings here. Every little bit does count. He saved up 300 minerals. What is he going to build with 300 minerals? A new hatchery? Another Ultralist? I guess only time will tell, but really Jaedong is just playing so stretched thin right now. His economy, his resources, his forces are stretched paper thin, and I don't know what he can do to stay in this game. He just spent his 300 minerals. I don't know what the hell he spent it on. But you can see that MC is continuing to distance mine here. Nothing Jaedong can do about it because MC obviously has his army in position to defend. Wow, what a game this has been. And I mean, barring a miracle here, I do think that MC is going to win. It's 61 supply to 18. And you can see the army obviously heavily favoring the Protoss now ever since that last battle. 2 Archons, an Immortal, 2 Stalkers, and most importantly, 8 Zealots here to deal with any Crackling. So, wow, sick one. And it looks like we do have a couple more Zerglings here. Are going to try to run over here to this expansion. And this is what Jaedong did. He spent his 300 minerals to make a ninja expansion over here. I don't know about that one. I don't know, maybe it would have been better served just making a bunch of Zerglings instead. But he does at least get the cancel off, and now he's going to go for a Greater Spire. How? Oh my god! He's gonna try to go for a Greater Spire, but I don't think he's gonna. No, there's no way he's gonna be able to afford it, or he can afford it, but he won't have enough time to get it out on the map. He just needs defenses now. He needs forces now. And what is he going to do? GG. I guess that's what he's gonna do. So beautiful game. Oh my sickness. That was one of the best PVZs I have casted. In fact, that might have been the best PVZ I've casted ever. What a game that was. And Jaedong almost able to squeak it out, but MC was able to get the victory here in game 2. We're going to go on to game 3, the final game. Hope you guys enjoyed. And this is HD signing out.